Hello there, guys. Welcome back to my channel for finally another Premier League preview, predicted 11, and all sorts of streams. Because finally, it's been the last international break of the year. No more international football until March 2022. Oh my days, what a lovely thing to say. What a lovely thing to think about. But now we're into the real thick of things. You know, we were talking about, so many games in October, so many games here, so many games there. No, so many games is what's happening from now on, because now it's really coming thick and fast. No breaks, no nothing. And, it's a few tough fixtures in there as well, which is, a bit different than the last few have been, I suppose, starting with Leicester City tomorrow with the early kickoff. Of course, we would be the lucky ones to be picked for the early kickoff after the international break. Brilliant. Love that, especially away from home. But it is what it is. We will talk through a lot about, injury news, both about ourselves and Leicester. I guess I'm not 100% sure whether I will want to touch on the whole thing that has come out of France last night or this morning, because that's a bit mental. So I feel like we shouldn't touch on that. But it's mental. So if you want to know, just find out. You'll find a way. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But the big thing, I guess, is, well, which of the players that are back will be involved, and if they're not, who keeps playing and who doesn't. And can we just, get back onto actually winning games? Because against Burnley, that was obviously a bit annoying. Sure, the day after helped us a bit because Liverpool lost and, results went a little bit in our way. But still, we want to get back to winning ways. And to discuss all of that, I'm joined, as you can obviously see on screen, by three very special guests. First and foremost, the trash talker Texan, Mr. Jester. Thank you for joining us, as always, with a lovely background as you have there. First of all, how you been? How was the international break for you? I hope it wasn't too bad. What are you excited for tomorrow? Are you confident for tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, I am. I thought that we would have a few other players back that aren't. However, we've got some people coming on form that in the right period of time, and I think we should be able to pick up a win. Maybe not a clean sheet, but a win.
Sounds good. I mean, as much as clean sheets are great and fun, as long as you get the 3 points, it doesn't really matter, does it? So, I would probably go along with that. Pice, I know you're not feeling all the best today because I'm not sure if you want to share that. So, I'm just going to not say that. But you're not feeling the best today. So, thank you for still joining us. And I hope the Chelsea can, get you up and running again. So, are you excited for tomorrow? Are you confident for tomorrow, mate?
No. Sorry to be a bit of a pessimist, but no. To be honest with you, the half 12s and the fact we're wearing our yellow kit for the first time is putting me off even more. I don't know, I'm getting bad vibes around this game. I'm not sure whether the players will be fully ready, but I hope we are. I hope we win comfortably, but I'm never confident with early kickoffs because our record suggests we shouldn't be confident. So, yeah, but just on the clean sheets thing, if we do keep a clean sheet tomorrow, then it'll be our fourth consecutive clean sheet in the league since 2008 away. So that'll be nice to get.
That would be pretty nice now that you say. I mean, hey, in the end, obviously, what matters most is the 3 points. But if we can pick up a clean sheet, why not? We'd probably take it. We would obviously take it. And of course, as you can all see, we are also joined by Clutch himself. First of all, Clutch, thank you for joining us, as always. How's the international break been for you? You survived somehow after Michael Antonio scored an absolute scream and a half against the US. But other than that, hope you've been well.
I really hate international breaks, and I'm really happy that it's over. But I would probably be more along the lines of Pius, a little less confident. I mean, we didn't end the international break that well, or end before the international break that well. We should have had more points. So, I mean, we're going to be going into it. Maybe that drives a little hunger into the boys, but we are getting some players back. And they don't have one of their main players out. So it's more of a 50-50. It could go either way. I think this is the game that we really need to win in order to get things back on track.
For sure. Can anyone actually tell me, because I know, well, maybe not all of you watching have heard, but the news that's come out today is that Yuri Tillemans has, picked up an injury and is unavailable for the game, which is only good news for us. But can anyone tell me, is Fofana still out? Because he's not ready to play.
He's out for a while. Tillemans is out for 4 weeks. So, yeah.
And then Brendan Rodgers, will he go? Will he stay or will he go to Man United? That has to be some effect on the locker room.
Exactly. Although obviously the reports were that Rodgers would always prefer to go at the end of the season rather than in the middle of the season. But you never know. Crazier things have happened, I suppose. Although the way Manchester United are moving, does anyone really see them sacking Solskjaer? Because I don't. So, I guess.
Well, I
One
hope
can
they
hope.
don't.
No, I hope they don't. Exactly. But would I be that much more scared if they had Brendan Rodgers? Not really. So, that is... But maybe that's a discussion for a different day. I think Jester mentioned, a good thing to start the whole conversation on. Romelu Lukaku is probably the guy you were mostly hinting at, of a guy that you kind of expected to be fit, but now unfortunately is not. Now, obviously, a couple of days ago, I think it was Tuesday, we were, sold the pictures or shown the pictures from training where, he's back in training. And I even saw the word full training. I'm like, is he? Because I don't see anybody else. But fair enough, I'll take your word for it. 2 days later, we find out, he's just moved to ball training. I was like, well, clearly he was not in full training then. And Thomas Tuchel today told us that Lukaku is close to team training, but not quite there yet, and is still out for tomorrow's game. There is a chance he's involved for the Juve game in midweek, but for tomorrow, it's not quite to be just yet. But we do have a few players returning. Both Timo Werner and Mason Mount are, of course, back. I mean, for Mason Mount, it was very obvious. For Timo Werner, it's positive news because we weren't really sure until yesterday whether he would be involved. Because yesterday is when he joined team training again for the first time. But we do still have Mateo Kovacic out injured. It will be a little while longer before he's back, although we weren't exactly told how long. But Christian Pulisic, thankfully, didn't pick up any new injuries on international duty and is apparently all good. So that is great. But Pice, let me actually go to you. What do you make of the fact that Lukaku isn't back? Is it a significant worry for you tomorrow, or should we be capable of getting the 3 points regardless of Lukaku being involved or not?
Well, the way Leicester have been playing, I think we should be able to get 3 points. And it doesn't surprise me that he's not back. I mean, I thought this was pretty obvious, but I don't think... I mean, the news was he was going to be back after the international break. Back doesn't mean playing straight away. It just means back in, doing a bit more than he's doing now, because he was running in the pool and stuff. So, yeah, I thought he'd be back on the ball doing some individual training, but I didn't think he'd be fit for this game. No way. So, yeah, it's not a surprise to me. But, yeah, we should be able to win. I think, obviously, our only other centre-forward option right now is Havertz. So he needs to have a big game because we need the win.
He does. He does need to have a big game, and he was actually one of the people that Thomas Tuchel spoke about in a press conference. He was asked about him. First of all, it was very weird to me because he missed that first Germany game, and he missed a few training sessions with a bruised leg. And to me, that was so obvious that clearly we're talking about what happened when the Burnley defender pushed him into the advertising board, right? But for some reason, I never saw anybody no journalist in any article say, this is why he's out, by the way, this happened. Everyone spoke of it as if it was a new thing that happened to him, which was very confusing. But thankfully, Thomas Tuchel confirmed that today. It was just the bruise he picked up against Burnley, which obviously kept him out for a couple of days. But then he, came back for the second game against Germany, scored as well in the 4-1 win over Armenia, I'm pretty sure it was. And I mean, we've spoken about this on this channel a couple of times that, hey, now if Lukaku comes back, hopefully this changes. But until now, we've arguably played better football whenever Kai has played instead of Lukaku anyway. So the likelihood of Kai playing instead of Lukaku tomorrow being the big reason why we win or don't win, in my opinion, are quite slim. Not because Lukaku can't help us, but because I think we're good enough without it and we play better as a team overall, if that makes sense. But the other boys, Pice, do you reckon Timo Werner could be involved in as much as a start, or do you reckon he might just come off the bench?
No, he actually said that he won't start. So, yeah, he said he may get minutes off the bench, but we'll have to see. If not, he'll probably just be in the matchday squad. But, yeah, I don't think Werner will get many minutes tomorrow, to be honest with you.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And it's, well, not quite the same, but similar with Mason Mount. Obviously, he had a wisdom tooth extraction at the start of the international break. In the end, never ended up joining with the England squad, which, gave him some time off, but obviously also meant he wasn't fit to train. Otherwise, he would have been, would have joined up with the national team. And obviously lost, well, all in all, probably about 3 weeks of training, 2.5 weeks of training. So not quite sure whether he will start. Thomas Tuchel didn't seem to be sure whether Mason Mount will start tomorrow. But clutch on these injury news, anything that particularly worries you, or just positive that at least even if they don't start, they're at least all closer to coming back?
Yeah, I'm just glad they're closer to coming back. I mean, we've been having to kind of not give players rest because these players have been out, and we're seeing Ross Barkley, who I'm not going to trash. But I think it's really good. I didn't think Timo would be available for this game, so I'm kind of surprised that he is actually available. But I didn't think Rom would. I know. I figured he would probably be back before the United game. But other than that, I think we'll be fine. We do have Christian back. We do have Cho in form to a degree. Kai got himself a goal in the international break, so I think we'll be fine. And obviously Mason coming back is obviously a huge boost as well.
No, exactly that. I mean, it is interesting. Pies mentioned it a second ago. Leicester have had the opposite of a good start to the season. Obviously, they won the FA Cup against ourselves, towards the end of the season, and then obviously just about, kind of bottled top four again for God knows how many times running now. But so far, 11 games in, and people think, like, yes, it is only the start of the season, but 11 games is actually quite a big chunk of the season. Like, obviously, it's not quite a third, but we're not far off it being a third of the season done. And they're only 12th. So it's not been ideal. 4 wins, 3 draws, goal difference of -2, just 16 scored. If you compare that to ours, we scored 27. And they also conceded 18 compared to our 4, which is a bit crazy. I mean, Thomas Tuchel kind of, in his opinion, seemingly a lot of that was down to Fofana being injured, which maybe is fair enough, but to some extent, that's a crazy dependence on one player who's a very young player as well, right? So, it's a tough one. Jester, let me go to you. How do you feel about Leicester? Obviously, I'm not expecting you to be a perfect expert on it, but obviously when we played them, whether it was the FA Cup final or in the league, as much as we beat them in the league and deserved to win, and arguably were the better team in the FA Cup final as well, they still put up, a problem for us. We had to go and beat them, and on one occasion we didn't. So has that changed now? Is it more of a, we're playing a real mid-table team, or is it just a Leicester that have been in bad form but are still a good team?
Well, a couple of points. First, on the injury front, just keep in mind we've had 2 attacking players get competitive game time in the last 2 weeks. Only 2.
True.
So that goes to fitness and match sharpness. So we'll see when we get to the lineup if that matters. But for me, there's only 2 attackers who've gotten game time. And so I don't care if you were on a roll. If you're out for 2 weeks, that role you might not be on that role anymore. So I think it kind of hurts that we had so many attacking players out and not available to even play an international game here or there. Because a competitive game is always better than practice, right?
For sure.
As far as sharpness. So that's that point. To me, I think they play with a back 3 tomorrow to match up. Because they've been switching between a back 2 and a back 3. But I think they'll play a back 3 to match up because they don't have Tielemans in the midfield. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Samari, I think Samari was their pickup. I don't know if he's fit. He's been in and out, fully fit. So depending on if they're going to match up or go 3 in the midfield, you could still see him go 3 minutes in the midfield, play a 5-3-2 because they could do, or they could go to a 3-4-3 like us, depending. But Fofana not being there, Soyuncu is a 1-year wonder. He's been awful this year. He reminds me of Arsenal David Luiz. There's always a foul or a penalty in there waiting to happen. Without Tielemans, probably their best 8 on the team. Indeed, he's more of a 5. Samari's, a 6. Samari's more like a 6, and then Madison is final third 10. I don't think he's great in build-up play for me. But there's goals to be had. Watford put 5 past them. That's Watford.
And that's Watford, yeah, exactly.
No, excuse me. That was the Everton they put 5 past. I probably
it was, yeah. No, sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. They both wear blue kits.
Play Leicester. I was like, I might have just missed it.
they both play in blue kits, so they're about on the same level too. So you should see me doing math yesterday. That was bad. But yeah, I think there's goals to be had in this game, and depending on the lineup we put out there, we should be able to. I'm thinking a 3-1.
Fair dues. Jester giving us an early score prediction. Let's see if after we've talked through everything, he still sticks to the 3-1 at the very end. By the way, big up Strip Bear. Haven't seen you in a minute, so I hope you're well. And big up for becoming a member again. Appreciate it a lot. Pi, similar question to what I just put to Jester, I guess. Is it for you still the same dangerous Leicester we played late last season, or is it different?
I think the thing is with this game is it's such a 50-50 because if we was if we didn't have the international break and we was kind of trying to bounce back from Burnley, I'm almost certain we would comfortably win. I don't know why. I just feel like we would. Or if we was, consistently playing. But I think the fact is 50-50 because we're both coming back and there's not a lot of time to prepare. It's an early game, so it's early. Thomas Tuchel mentioned early breakfast for us, late travel today, so it's going to be interesting. I wonder if we're going to turn up. That's obviously the big question. If we turn up, sure, I think Leicester are there to be got at. I think that with Leicester, you always seem to get, 3-4 chances minimum, usually. I don't think they're the best defensively, especially not this season. So I think they're there to be got at, but tomorrow's either going to be our day or it's not. It's either going to be comfortable or it's going to be very, very tense. So, to be honest with you, I don't have too much thoughts on this game because it's kind of one where I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens, waiting to see the first 30 minutes, see what happens, what's the approach, how do both sides start the game? Because after international break, for me, it's just an element of the unknown a lot of the time.
For sure, it's about how well you come out the blocks, I guess, as well. How well do you start the game? And on that news about it could potentially be tense, and obviously we talked about the injuries a second ago, and not in terms of injuries now, but somewhat surprisingly, Thiago Silva has actually travelled to Leicester. Not sure whether he will be involved. I'm obviously playing for, or did he not play for Brazil against Argentina? Is that why?
He didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't play.
No, he
did
didn't.
Not play either of the games or just the second one?
I think he played the first one. Yeah, he did play the first one. Yeah.
It is interesting. Why would he not play against Argentina?
Don't know. Don't really care. More rest for him.
Are we complaining about that?
No, not at all. It's just if you're not going to play him against Argentina, why did you call him up in the first place? Could have just saved him all that traveling. But sure. Anyway, in the end, they are qualified. Obviously, Brazil qualified for the World Cup with the first game when they won 1-0 against Colombia. And then the second game, they didn't need a result anymore. Argentina needed the point to qualify. So I guess maybe it was from that perspective. And let's not forget, he is 37 years of age. But it is, I suppose, positive news. I'm very intrigued to see whether he will be involved tomorrow. Klaus, what do you reckon? Do you think he will start? Because how many times have we sat here and thought, no chance Thiago starts. He can't play again. And then he plays again.
I mean, I can't count on two hands that many times that Thomas Tuchel's played him when we didn't think he would. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there was a lot of travel involved. I think what was today his first training session, I think. So I don't think he'll be involved for this week. I don't think he'll start at least. Maybe if something happens.
He has traveled, obviously, so he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll see him. I think we're going to start seeing more attacking players, which I'll talk about later, who I think will be probably coming on.
Exactly. No. That makes a lot of sense. Clutch, just lastly, obviously, because I've asked the other two boys, do you expect Leicester to be a different type of proposition? Or do you expect it to be, similar to how the league game at Stamford Bridge went and the FA Cup game went, I suppose?
I'm on a 50-50. I think I agree with Pius with, if it wasn't just coming back from this international break, we probably would be looking a little bit stronger probably, but Thomas Tuchel has also had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, to think about it, decide how he was going to do. Oh, my bad, sorry. But if he had the ability to sit there and plan for what he was going to do this against Leicester, I think. But Leicester always has a problem. Jamie Vardy's always going to be a problem. But I don't think their defense is going to be strong enough to stop us. I think we have a strong enough defense. It's just how are they going to come back from this international break with an early kickoff? That's what worries me.
That is fair. To be honest, for me, it's almost regardless of how they've been so far this season. Obviously, Fofana being out helps. Obviously, Jester mentioned that Soyuncu is kind of a bit, as at least so far, seems a bit of a one-season wonder. But the big thing is Leicester missing Tielemans for the last 18 months or so. Tielemans has been an absolute star for Leicester. So them missing him, and also him obviously scoring that screamer that beat us in the FA Cup final, as much as you can debate whether it should have stood or not with the handball in the build-up, but it was still a screamer of a goal. I think whether not just this season, but not having Tielemans makes them a very different proposition. I hope I'm not jinxing anything here, touch wood, but that I feel like it makes a big difference to them, because I think what we struggled with the most in those games against Leicester was, well, at least in the FA Cup final, was the midfield, because we didn't really even get into the final third enough to sit there and say, oh, we didn't create enough. We kind of didn't even get there to attempt creating enough, I thought. That FA Cup final was one of the most frustrating games under Thomas Tuchel, if you ask me, but it's a long time ago, so maybe I'm remembering it wrong, I will say. But still, I mean, because we touched on will Thiago Silva start or not, I think it's probably time we get into the, not predicted 11, but kind of mix of predicted 11 and what we would like to see played in the first place. So let me just get this up on screen so we can actually discuss that, because there are a few debates, a few positions where we're probably not 100% sure, and maybe not in 100% of an agreement either. First and foremost, let's just clear up, before I even show you guys on screen, Edouard Mendy in goal. His name is Edouard. He plays for Chelsea Football Club. And, if you Google it right, you will also find the right pictures. But that's enough of that, I suppose. I'm just trying to basically bridge the time until I have everything prepared so I can actually show you this on screen. So that's why I'm just waffling random things. I do apologize. But let me just press share screen here so we can actually get this involved. And you know what? I will start with you, Jester. Obviously, we all know that Mendy is going to be in goal. But what is the back three, in your opinion? Well, first of all, what would you like to see? And then if that differs, if you expect Tuchel to do something different, what is that?
What I would like to see and what I hope to see is Rudiger, Silva, Christensen, which is our best back three, in my opinion. If Thiago is not fit to start, which he didn't know. He said, we'll have to see, from what I understand. Then, of course, you would put Aspie in, but that's the back three for me.
That's the back three for you. It's an interesting one, because when we sit here and we talk about these lineups and we're like, okay, what would we like to see? Yeah, I would like to see that as well. I probably agree. But the problem is I just don't have sufficient information to judge whether I like to see Thiago Silva play or not, because I don't know if me saying that is a risk or not. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Let's get to the other boys, and then we'll see where we end up as a full. Let me go with you, Clutch. Obviously, you expect Silva to be on the bench, but would you start him regardless, or would you go with Christensen and then Aspie as the right centre back? Presumably.
Ideally, this would be the back three I would go with, but I don't think that's the one we're going to get. I think we're going to get Rudiger, Christensen in the middle, and then Aspie on the right. That's because that probably makes the most sense, considering, we just don't know if Thiago Silva could do it. If he can, he will start. But if not, this is probably going to be the lineup. Maybe Chalobah on the right. I would like to see Chalobah too, but I don't think you're going to take Aspie out, because we already know who's going to be the right wing back.
Yeah, no, that we definitely know it's got to be the right wing back. It's a tough one to call as well, especially with the games we have coming up, because Juve at home in the Champions League is a big game for us if we want to top the group. So Thiago is guaranteed to start that, and the weekend after is Man United. So it's essentially Thiago Silva is guaranteed to start that. So if you don't want to start him 3 games in a week, tomorrow is probably the only time where you're not going to do that. So that's just the small, I guess, problems that come with having an important player that's 37 years of age. But Pice, what about for you? Would you like to see what we have on screen now? Would you like to see Chalobah over Aspie, or would you like to, I guess, in a way, risk Thiago?
Yeah, no, I think the team on screen, I think, might be more suitable for the Champions League game. I think what I would like to see in tomorrow's game is Rudiger, Christensen, and Chalobah. And I think it makes more sense playing Chalobah because he's not played in international like Aspie has, and he's been at Cobham training. And I like to feel like, along with Hudson-Odoi, he's been impressing. And I think people are just too scared to put Chalobah in their lineups for whatever reason. But for me, he's a must starter tomorrow. I feel like he can have a really, really positive game, especially with the ball progression that he does offer. Feel like he'll be vital, and I don't feel like he's one of the guys where I'm scared about. You know, I trust him fully. I think he'll be really motivated. He's a Cobham lad, so yeah, I think if we can get as many of them in as possible, I think they're the ones that will kick off the game really well tomorrow.
So essentially, you would like to what we have on screen actually change Aspie for Chalobah, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, in short.
No, I'm not saying you've waffled around for too long. I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
I understand
in
you
short.
correctly?
I mean, the thing is as well. Actually, Silva's not even in there. I think Silva must play against Juventus. So, actually, re-looking at it, I think. Thing is though, if I take Aspie out for Juventus, then you know I just don't see him being benched in a big game like that. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. Yeah,
does any of you three know when Aspie last started a game at right centre back? Because it feels like ages ago.
It has been. I want to say probably, was it Tottenham?
I can't remember how we lined up against Tottenham, but I definitely can't know that he hasn't played right centre back between the past international break and the one before that. He definitely didn't play in the back three in that period. So
yeah,
it's that's why I'm not sure. And like Pies mentioned a good point there. Like we went from Aspie basically being one of the first names on the team sheet for Tuchel, and he always played him, even when a lot of us thought he shouldn't be playing. Well, I say a lot of us, when sometimes we thought maybe it would make more sense not to play because Aspie's so still good that it sounds harsh to say he shouldn't play. But now we've come into a position where Reece is just too good not to play. So if Aspie starts right wing back, that's outrageous from Tuchel, right? So you have to think of him, in my opinion, more as the right centre back now. But we just thought about it there. Like, where do you go? Because do you now push for someone like Chalobah more? It's a tough one, honestly. I mean, the way I know Tuchel, if we're going to presume now, Jester, that Thiago won't start, I think this is the most likely. And if I'm going to think of it as Thiago is not ready to start, if I'm think of it that way, I think I might pick that one as well, just because. Well, maybe not me, but I know Tuchel will, because Tuchel just will pick Aspie over Chalobah in that situation. I would just be very surprised if he didn't. Would any of you be expecting Tuchel to pick Chalobah over Aspie?
Well, the thing is, if you don't play Chalobah tomorrow, I highly doubt he starts against Juventus. And then do you start him against Man United? So it's like
no, you don't. He won't start him in any of those games, I reckon.
Exactly. So then, not playing Chalobah 3 times is just outrageous for me. I think he's way too good to be just sitting on the bench.
Well, you could also say that if you don't start Aspie in this game, he won't start against Juventus or Man United either. Because if
I disagree. I think he's more likely to start in those games because they're bigger games. So,
but where would he start? Would he start at right center back or right wing back?
It depends on James's overload. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, he did play quite a bit for England, so I don't know.
Well, for me, because of looking at the height of certain teams and how they play, I wouldn't see Aspie there for the height in either the Juventus or the Man United games. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about it.
Play one is probably tomorrow, I reckon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it'll be Rudiger, Silva, and Christensen in Juventus and at United.
I agree. Like, obviously, Pai said he's more thinking about when will Tuchel use him. And Tuchel, we need Reece against both Juve because we need to win that game. And also against United. Against United, the important thing is that we actually make their bad defense actually look bad. And if having Aspie at right wing back makes it more difficult for us to make an opponent's defense look bad, in my opinion. So Reece is a guaranteed for me for those 2 games. And the only one where I'm like, we'll probably do all right whether we have Reece or not is probably tomorrow. I don't like talking about Aspie like this, but I think we all spoke about Aspie in a similar vein until Tuchel came in, and even the first few weeks of Tuchel being here, we were all like, why does Aspie keep playing? We all accepted, okay, right centre back, that's where he's great at. But when he started playing right wing back, all of us were a bit confused by this. And now it's like, we want him to play, but at the same time, we're like, but he's not better than Reece. Is he still better than Christensen at right centre back? Maybe, maybe not. It's a tough one because Aspie hasn't played there for so long now. But why has he not played there for so long? Why has Tuchel made that decision? So it's a really tough one for me to call. In all honesty, I'll go back to you, Jester. The wing backs are obviously very clear, but just quickly for everybody that might not realise, Chilwell and Reece James both started the first game for England during the international break against Albania, in which Reece got an assist. I don't think Chile got an assist, but he nearly scored off Reece's cross, to be fair. If Kane doesn't put it in, Chile does. So, that's something, I suppose. But then in the second game, Chile didn't come on, right? Only Reece did.
I think Chilwell did come on.
I think both of them came on.
Okay. Well, then, to be honest, in that way, it's kind of the perfect amount of not playing too much, but keeping sharpness up. You play the first game, but their last start is long enough ago that they should be 100% fresh, but they still stayed in the rhythm because they came on. So I presume we all agree that it should be those two, right? Right, Chester?
It has to be, because if you actually start looking at them as the position they're playing, they're midfielders. They're not defenders. So they're getting more involved in our attack. And we can actually see the Tuchel's full system only when we play Chilwell and Reece James. That's the only time you can see the full extent of this system, because Aspie does not have the pace to play it correctly, or like Reece can and be as dangerous as Reece. And Alonso, again, not enough pace. And I think Chilwell has demonstrated he got every bit as good as a shot as Alonso does. Maybe not from set pieces right now, but from open play, I would rather have Chilwell there on offense right now than Alonso.
100%. And to be honest, I also think Chile's corners are better than Alonso's. Free kicks, no. But the corners, I even think Chile plays them better than Alonso. The only thing I'll still give Alonso is probably better at heading the ball, attacking-wise. Defensive heading, I wouldn't even give that Alonso, to be honest. But by the way, Clutch did tell us that the last time Aspie played right centre-back was against Zenit in the first game. Sorry, Clutch, I didn't see it until now. So now I'm telling the people. So that is a hot minute ago, because when that game happened, I was on holiday. And I've not been on holiday in a hot minute now. So, that game is a while ago. That was in September. And now we're, middle to late November. So it's been a long time since Aspie played right centre-back. But on that note, Clutch, obviously I presume you back them two starting at wing-back, right?
Yeah, the other options we have, I really don't want to put there. So I'd go with James and Chilwell.
Fair dues. And Pice, I presume you'd say the same.
Well, I want them to both start. Whether they will both start, I'm not sure, because we have 3 days after this Leicester game to Juventus, and then we would assume they're 100% starters in Man United. But for me personally, I'm not sure if I'll be wrong, but I don't see them starting as a duo in all 3 of these matches. I think that's asking a bit too much, to be honest.
But if you keep Aspie on the bench, then he can come on for James later on in the game.
It's too situational for me. You can't plan like that. I would only do that if we're playing a really bad team. I don't think you can go into a game thinking that one of your subs will be Aspie to take out James. It might not be that comfortable. So,
or you could actually swap them there on the pitch and have Reece move to right center back and play Aspie up top later on in the game.
Maybe. I think one of them might rest tomorrow. That's a cheeky shout. We'll see what happens.
But actually, because they didn't start the second game for England, that would just very much surprise me. I will also say, because we play Juve on Tuesday, but we play United on Sunday. So there is
3 days, though. It's 3 days. I don't think...
From Saturday to Tuesday, it's 3 days. But then we have Tuesday to Sunday.
So do you think both of the... You got to remember what this role requires. It's one of the most high-intense roles in the whole team. I don't think... It's not like a centre-back where we have others to cover if you get a bit outpaced or outworked. These two are running all game. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we even see Hudson-Odoi at wing-back again. That would be a shout for tomorrow, actually.
Well, you're upset a lot of Chose fans about that.
No, but I'm only saying that because Pulisic, right? Tuchel said he feels fine. So that to me sounds like he's ready to start now after some minutes for America.
Yeah. I don't think... Because I have Callum starting in this game, but he's starting on the right attacking side.
I just think I think I do believe that Chile and James will start all the next 3 games, and then we'll
I do too.
be rested against Watford, who is the game after United in midweek. And then they come back in for when we play like West Ham and go on from there. And then again, Zenit, if we beat Juve, against Zenit, they will also not play. So that's how I think of it. Because like we're going through a month now. If we want to win the league, I feel like, especially Alonso, we need to play Chile pretty much in every game if we want to win the league here. Like there's not many Premier League games for the rest of the season where I'd happily not play Chilwell. Or I mean, with Reece, not because Reece is not as good as Chile, but because Aspie's better than Alonso. Every now and again, sure. Or even Callum Hudson-Odoi every now and again there if we play a very defensive side. Say against Watford. I wouldn't mind playing Hudson-Odoi at right wing against Watford. But I just think we should probably go for it. But, I do definitely see Pice's point because it's a difficult situation for us as fans because we don't, like, we can only speculate. We can say, we know how certain players play so and so many games in a row. But at the same time, only the manager really knows. And to be honest, Pice, I don't think Tuchel or the medical staff know quite yet how many games in a row Chile and James will start because I feel like they will always just see how they feel after each game. So that's why I expect them to start tomorrow. And then only if one of them isn't ready for, say, Tuesday, then that gets changed rather than today already.
Here's my question. Trent and Robertson, when they're fit, play every game. I mean, so if they can do it, playing from a right back, fullback spot, and they get forward just as much as Chilwell and James do.
Mm-hmm.
Then
and have to run back further. You could argue.
Right. I don't see why that pairing in the form they're in.
Didn't Robertson just get injured though?
Huh?
Didn't Robertson just pick up an injury?
Yeah, I said when they're fit.
So that's the problem because they played too many games in a row. They're more susceptible for injuries.
No, yeah, I just think sometimes you just have to suck it up.
Go on.
I just think you have to suck it up and say, hey, we need you both to play these next 3 games because you're the best at what we need at that position. And
I think these 3 games are too big.
Yeah. That could be defining the season.
Yeah, because tomorrow we need to bounce back from Burnley, so we need a win. United, we need to win just for the sake of it, because I can't handle it if we get another not win against them. That would just infuriate me. And I would like to top the Champions League group. So against you, but I also need to play in my book. But I know, like I said, Pies, I don't think you're like saying something outrageous or stupid by any means. I do think you make sense. I just think these games are kind of too big. And for them not to play. But hey, we'll see whether, who's right, I suppose. But come to the midfield. Obviously, N'Golo Kante and Jorginho were both involved in international duty. Jorginho had a bit of a howler, scoring a penalty against Switzerland. In both games against Switzerland in their World Cup qualifier group, by the way, it was a draw late on. Last time it was 0-0. This time it was 1-1. And on both occasions, he missed a penalty. The first one, Sommer saved it. And that's after that, he changed his penalty technique to stop the hibbity hop. And now he just skied it, which not great. Not great for him. But like Thomas Tuchel said, if there is someone that has the personality to, be okay with, such a disappointing setback, I suppose, and still come back into play and be good, it's probably him. But you know what, Pies? Because, you made an interesting point on Chile and James. I'll go straight back to you, to be honest. Who will be your midfield pairing? Because obviously Kante was with the French squad. As far as I'm aware, he started even against Finland, or does he only start Kazakhstan?
He wasn't in the squad for the second game.
The first game he was, yeah.
Okay. So on that note then, Pies, Jorginho, Kante obviously both played their games. Kova's still out. And then you had the likes of Saul, Ruben Loftus-Cheek that weren't on international duty. So how do you reckon Tuchel picks, and how would you pick, I guess?
Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek, very easy for me. You know what? I always think when I do these lineup predictions, I always think, will he give Saul a game? When is Saul actually going to play? Because I'm sure Tuchel rates him to some extent. It's just, I don't know. Maybe a sneaky shout with Saul because he's been at Cobham training constantly. Mm-hmm. But I think Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek will be the best pair, and I think that's the pairing he will go with tomorrow.
I hope so. I certainly back it. Let me go to you, Clutch. What do you reckon? Does Saul get a chance? Is it a typical Tuchel move whenever Kante is fit, Kante starts? Or do you reckon it could actually be Jorginho and Ruben?
Personally, I would probably go with Jorginho and Ruben, but here's my question. We know Kante can't play 2 games in a row, probably. We know we're probably going to use him against United. Are we going to use him versus Juventus?
See, that's what I disagree with. I don't think Kante should be playing against Man United. I think playing Kante.
Oh, I don't know, Laurenz.
They're very
good. Laurenz, they're very good counter-attacking team, though. I think Kante's a must-start against United, actually.
I know you say that. Winning the ball back, stopping their counter-attacks, it's true. I just feel like having Kante feeds into why United are always good against us.
Well, what do you mean?
Because he's too high, way too high up the pitch than he should be. So he's in positions where he isn't able to express his best abilities of winning the ball back, but instead has to be a play creator, which is just not. And then we are worse at breaking an opponent down, and they find it easier to get the ball back and counter-attack us. So if he for once play deeper, great. But if he basically plays second striker again, like he does half the time, then I don't want to see him anywhere near against United.
I remember, the big Champions League games last season, thinking how good Jorginho and Kante was. I think that against Man United, I think works really well. But
I haven't seen that Kante in a while. That Champions League Kante. When was the last time Kante played like that?
It is big game Kante.
Second half Tottenham.
Yeah,
and again, that was like in September.
But the thing is Kante in these sort of games against. I'm not saying Leicester are bad, but I know Kante's still got world-class performances in him, so I'd kind of just leave Kante now for the really big games because I just want to, United for me is huge. I don't really care if we finish second in the Champions League group. I know you guys do, but I don't, so...
it's not just about coming first, it's also about being able to rest in the last group game. So we need to win this week so we can just play whoever we want again in the last game. That's mostly what matters, so we can get a rest when we don't have a period with easy games. Is mostly why I find it very important. Because I will change my statement. I agree, actually, now I thought about it more. Kante should play against United. Maybe against Juve he shouldn't. But even then, like I said already, Tuesday, Sunday, even Kante can play those 2 games. Tuesday, Sunday is a long time. That's like if you play 2 Premier League games, you play the Monday game and you play Saturday. It's the same distance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might as well. We lost Jester. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. But it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because now I haven't asked Jester, who we're kind of waiting for. So I hope he comes back soon. But like I said, for me, I would... Gone.
I said, and so that's why I have a debate in my head because if you're going to use Kante versus United, which I think is a must, then you don't play him against Juventus. So if you don't play him against Juventus, do you play him today or tomorrow? But I think that would be highly unfair to Ruben. I mean, I guess you could switch him because I think Jorginho is going to start all 3 of these games unless somehow Kovacic is back before United, which I very, very doubt that that's going to happen. Do you start... You would just interchange Ruben and Kante because I don't think Saul is going to get in one of the big games because we have not seen a good Saul yet. So it's always possible because you don't know Tuchel. But for me, I don't. Go ahead.
Clutch. That's why I said, do you think Saul starts tomorrow? Because then if you don't think Kante is going to play against Juventus, then you have to play Ruben. So will it be Jorginho Ruben against Juventus and then Jorginho Saul tomorrow? I'm debating in my head because we don't have so many midfield options, but you've got to think of. I'm just trying to think of the best.
See, and that's my problem.
Stylistic matchup,
Would you start Kante in this game against Leicester, which I don't think he's necessarily going to be needed. I think it's a possibility.
Needed, probably less annoying than against Juve.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah. But
it's a tough one. By the way, guys, Jester lost power, so let's hope he's back soon. But I guess let's hope for the Texas power lines, whatever. Because interesting fact of the day, Texas has its own, what's it called? Power
grid
lines. Power grid, thank you, that's the word. Own power grid, rather than along with the rest of the United States. So does the rest do you have one west one and one east one? But anyway, Texas, so massive, has its own one. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I think Clutch actually makes a fair point. Maybe Kante needs to start tomorrow because I love Ruben. But I think, to be honest, the one that's most likely or least likely to start Saturday and Tuesday is probably Ruben. Don't we think?
I think he starts one of them, but not both.
Yeah, no, I agree. But is he likely to start both? And I think he's more important against Juve.
I would.
Yeah,
that would be where I'm at. I would probably save him for Juve.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because on the point of Saul Pies, I think if Saul doesn't start against Watford on December 1st, then Saul is never starting for us again. Except maybe Zenit if we're already through in the Champions League. Okay. But in terms
That's
of
what I mean. Like, it's like Saul doesn't feel like our player. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like, no one's really thought about him for tomorrow, but he could quite easily start. Because, newsflash, he is our player. So, you know what I mean? It's weird.
It just, I guess it never made, in hindsight, it just never made sense. Because it's like, I thought, well, you got Jorginho, you got Kante, you got
Kovacic.
And then you bring on Saul. It's like, where are you going to play Saul? In one of those pivot places? Maybe. But then Ruben happens, and when Ruben happens, like, it all ended for him.
I know it was a cup game, but Saul was fucking good in the cup game, to be fair to him.
I think he was pretty decent in that game. I really do.
Yeah, like, he can do the attacking going forward quite well. So, I mean...
Who was he paired with in that game? Was it Jorginho? I don't remember.
It was Ruben, I think, wasn't it?
It was Ruben, and Ruben played the 6. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Ruben was actually really deep. And that's where we was like, oh my God, Ruben can actually do the defensive side now. Even though we had the ball a lot. Like tomorrow, I think we'll have the ball quite a bit. So I think if Jorginho and Saul could match up together, I think that'll be quite good for tomorrow. But we'll see. Every time I say Saul, I'm just like, yeah, I think he could start. And then he just doesn't. Like, he's not even in the thinking. So it's just weird.
It's just...
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's a really tough call, to be honest. Like, again, if I could sit here and ask Tuchel or ask Ruben, does he currently have the body to start a Saturday and a Tuesday game? If they tell me yes, then I would still stick to Ruben and Jojo for tomorrow and play the same against Juve. But if Ruben can't do that, then I'd maybe pick Kante, if that makes sense.
But that would be where I'm at, like, especially for Kante. I don't think you're going to leave Kante out for not playing a game for 2 weeks and then throw him in against United.
Yeah, but that's Kante. Isn't that what we've always done with Kante?
To a degree, yeah, but it's so hard because if this Kovacic was around, I wouldn't even be asking a question. It'd be Kovacic and Jorginho. But
yeah, tomorrow at least against Juve, I'd still like Jorginho and Ruben, in all honesty. But
can I make a point here on Kante?
Exactly. I was going to go to you, but let me actually fill you in on what we were discussing while you were not here. So our problem is basically, can Ruben play Monday, Saturday, Tuesday? First question. Second question is, does Kante only play against United, or does Kante play United and today? Because we all expect him to play against United. Even I've changed my mind. But what would be your midfield too? Because I never actually got to you, Jester, before your power cut out.
Yeah, it's going to be Jorginho and Kante. And look, if they pronounced him fit, that number one, he's going to want to be in there, and number two, if N'Golo Kante is fit, you play him. I would prefer to have.
I disagree nowadays. I really do. I don't know. He's becoming like, he's still a world-class player, but there's who did we play recently? And I was like, why is Kante even playing? And like, what does he offer?
Newcastle,
yeah.
Newcastle.
That was the same thing. It was play Kante because he's fit. Well, no, we looked worse with him in the team because we couldn't attack. He was just, he was just there, I think there's better options for certain games.
I don't disagree with you, but here's where my thinking is. With Tielemans out of that midfield, Kante could do a number on them. Because Ndidi's going to be defensive. I don't know if Samari's going to be fit. And if they only play a two-man midfield, Kante can dominate both of that. They could hold off that midfield and leave Jorginho in space. So that's why I think he starts, is because he can dominate that midfield in the game and maybe put it to bed early. just because he'll free up Jorginho to be able to pick up his head and pick out a pass.
It is true. It is true. I mean, hey, people know of my love for Ruben. So if he can, I'd always want to play Ruben in all honesty. But
and my last point is the last time I picked Jorginho and Ruben, it was Jorginho and Kante that started. So,
so actually, you won Jorginho and Ruben. By the way, Pies, it was also against Burnley. We also started Kante.
Exactly.
We all wanted Loftus-Cheek to start.
It's just stupid. Like, you don't need to play Kante against sides that are lower down the table and are not like Leicester have not been great at attacking this season. I don't see them really as a because I feel like they can probably play like a 5-3-2 or something. I feel they'll be the ones defending tomorrow. I really do. Like one of you said, I think they either match up or just 5 at the back kind of and just sit back and defend. Let us have the ball. So in that case, I don't see Kante as necessary as if someone like United that I know they're going to counter attack, but they've got so much individual pace and quality. I'm like, I have to have him start in that game. I don't feel the same tomorrow. I just really don't. I'm not on those vibes tomorrow with Kante.
Well, and it kind of point real quick for you is if you want James and Chilwell to be more attacking and stay forward a little bit longer, Kante eats up in that entire space. You have Rudiger on one side, and if you do play Aspie, he's a little bit more able to play in space because he plays as a wing back or a right back at sometimes, so he can play in space better. So Kante can just go out and cover for either Chilwell or James if they get stuck high up. And that's the only thing they do very well is hit us on counters. And
yeah, I mean, it's true, but at the same time, I think Tuchel won't. I think the game plan won't be just go forward wing backs. I think they're so back and forward. I don't necessarily think we need to have someone in there to cover for them. Like, yes, that could be good, but I don't know. I don't think that will be the game plan. Like, as much as we aren't a defensive team, we do pride ourselves on our defensive ability and the clean sheets we keep. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
It's a tough one because now that we mentioned United again, the way United play, presumably they will mirror our formation, first of all. And secondly, Pogba's injured. So who in their midfield too, like McFred, they're not going to be the biggest problem, are they? So like whenever they're going to play those counter-attacking balls, they're going to play them from defense to attack. So will Kante even be able to stop them?
Look, I would prefer to have Ruben. Okay, I'll say I would. If I was picking the team, I would pick Ruben. But I think that Kante is fit, and Tuchel goes, "Oh, I've got N'Golo Kante on my available."
I see that.
It's one of those things. Like, why wouldn't you? It'd be shocking if you didn't play him, right? If he's fully fit, ready to go, because I've seen N'Golo Kante actually play very good offense from time to time.
For sure. No, and sorry to interrupt you there. I just want to clarify this to people that always tell me I have an agenda against Kante. When I say that I don't like Kante playing in the games against Burnley and Newcastle, that's not saying because I don't think he can ever be good against them. Obviously, he can. Otherwise, he wouldn't be as great of a player as he is. But I always feel like the likelihood of him being offensively good is smaller than say, Ruben. And I think defensively, Kante's extra abilities over Ruben are less needed against the Burnley and the Newcastle, which is why I don't understand why he plays them. That's all I ever say. And by the way, Stripper, I appreciate you a lot, especially for the super sticker, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate it. It's a tough one because this is more our 11 than a predicted 11. Let's put Ruben in here, but everyone, you know what? I do the thing of like what we do in the player rating. So I put Kante here. And to be honest, if Kante wants to start and we bring Ruben on, fair enough. But what I don't like is what we did against Burnley when we only took Kante on after 85 minutes. That's way too late. Take him off after an hour, fine. And bring Ruben in for half an hour, okay. But not for 5 minutes. That's always crap. I'm not a fan of that. So let's put it this way and let's get into the front three. And I will actually go to you, Clutch. What do you reckon? First of all, does Mount start, in your opinion? Obviously, there is a chance he does, but we're not sure, according to Tuchel in the press conference today. And the same goes, I guess, for Christian Pulisic, because He did come on in both games for the US. Obviously, scored the win in their first game against Mexico. Then also came on against Jamaica, but unfortunately wasn't able to make a difference in the United States 1-1 draw. But do you reckon he's now fit to start? And if he is, does he start?
It's a tough question. When was the last time Mount played more than 15 minutes? Do we remember?
3 weeks ago.
Game. Last game we played came on for the last 5 after we conceded the equal.
Yeah, but how many has he played more than 15 minutes? When was the last time he's played a significant chunk of a game?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks
the
ago?
Game before Newcastle, whatever that game was.
Yeah. Because he's been out for 2 weeks for international play. Then he was out for a week, almost a week with because of the tooth problem.
But
he came back and played 5 minutes. So it could be more like 4 weeks.
It's definitely 3.5, 4 weeks for sure. The thing is, we throw Kante in every time he comes back from injury. Why wouldn't we throw Mount in whenever he comes back from injury? And he's not been injured. Obviously, he might lack a little bit of fitness, but he wasn't injured. So it's a little bit different, I would argue.
I agree. It's just that game time, getting up to a game speed, that's what worries me. But I think if you're gonna choose, I think first striker will be Kai. I think that's just that's just a given. Cho will start. Where I don't know. I would if it was my predicted 11, it would be Havertz, Pulisic on the left, Cho on the right. But I would probably say it's probably going to be Cho on the left, Mount on the right, Havertz up top.
See, I think, and I know, Jester, you might disagree that Tuchel does this. I think this is what we will start with, and then Ziyech comes on. But I throw a curveball at you. Ross Barkley started the last Premier League game. Ross Barkley started the last game full stop. And I know he missed a bit of a sitter, and he should have squared it to Chilwell. But most people agreed he was the best attacker on the day. And Thomas Tuchel praised him post-game. Does Ross Barkley start?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not with... Look, if Christian Pulisic wasn't available, and then you just had maybe Mount and Cho, and I don't think Mount's fit to start.
Exactly.
By the way,
so if Mount's not fit and Pulisic's not fit to start, who starts?
Pulisic
is it Barkley?
Pulisic is fit to start.
Do you think? According to Tuchel as well? I'm not sure.
Well, according to him, he was ready to go. He could have started and played 90 minutes against Mexico if called upon. That was his
always say that, though. A player will always say that.
But nobody else is saying anything differently. He's been training for 2 weeks now. With both Chelsea and with the national team. He's only one of 2 attacking players who actually got minutes in the last 2 weeks. So Mount got no minutes. Callum got no minutes in the last 2 weeks.
If you're asking me, who am I going to pick between Pulisic and Mount as far as being able to be gone a while and then come back at full fitness and be able to play more, it's going to be Mount. That's one of Mount's qualities is he's able to run all the time.
Well, that's fine, but a virus or a bacterial infection is a little bit different.
Also true. Especially because didn't he lose some weight as well, they said?
He couldn't eat.
Because you can't even eat properly when you have a wisdom tooth infection. And then even a wisdom tooth extraction, you can't eat for a few days properly.
Yeah, that's why I'm pushing for Christian on the left, Callum on the right. And Callum on the right is his best position, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're asking me...
Go on.
If Pulisic is to start tomorrow, he has to start on the left. He can't start on the right. I don't care. If he doesn't start, then it has to be Cho on the left. It has to be Mount on the right. That's all I got.
Or you could put Mount as the false 9, put Havertz on the left, because we saw that as well, and play a 1-2 instead of a 2-1.
Also true.
Because he does I guess I'm not trying to hog all the time, but I know everybody is addicted to inverted wingers.
Like that thing.
Yeah, and that could be Mount in the middle instead of Barkley.
Yeah, but I thought you said you don't think Mount will start.
Yeah, but if people, that's another way to play it. So I know everybody likes inverted wingers to come in, cut in onto your favorite foot. But once upon a time, you wanted a left-footed player on the left side and a right-footed player on the right side. So
Yeah,
maybe
until we played Malmo, then we switched it.
well, I'm saying no, back if you go further back in football history.
Aha. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Go on.
So maybe in this particular system, Tuchel likes to have left-footed players on the left side and right-footed players on the right side. Unless you are insanely talented with your other foot. Havertz can play both sides because he actually is very good with both feet. Christian's very good with both feet. But like Ziyech, he is in our system. I think Ziyech is better off the left because he has no right foot. And so he can always go to the byline and flash it across the goal. Same with Callum. He can always go to the touch line and play it across the goal. Whereas if you're asking him to cut and make a precision pass with his left, he's not there yet with that left foot.
I agree, but still, in all of the games that Callum's now started, even though he was moved to the right in this for second halves, he always started on the left. So I'm not sure if Tuchel has this idea in his head, but I'm not sure he's fully set on it. But I do see what you're saying. Let me ask Pice actually. What do you reckon? I think you agree as well that Kai and Cho will be two of the front three. But the question is, who will be the third one, and which side does Callum play on? I guess.
Callum has to be on the left for me. Havertz will be up front, and Mount will be on the right. And I think Pulisic will come on at 60 minutes.
Fair enough.
I hope 60 minutes and not 85th.
Yeah. To make it interesting, Pice, let's just say that Mount can't start. Who plays then?
Ziyech.
Really? For you or for Tuchel?
For me. Pulisic won't start. No chance.
I picked Barkley over Ziyech.
Nah,
I'd put Ruben there over Ziyech.
Nah.
No, Barkley was brilliant last game.
Nah. Ziyech
Barkley was mental.
Player. No way.
If we play players on merit, Barkley has to play over Ziyech.
No chance. No.
For me, Ziyech is dead food.
No.
He has not. Look, I understand that we know what Ziyech can be, but when was the last time he was that for Chelsea?
And Ross Barkley shouldn't even be in the squad, so I don't know.
He shouldn't be, but he is, and he played well last game.
Yeah, but we have Christian Pulisic who can play 90 minutes. I don't understand why.
I'm not entertaining a player that I just don't think should be in the squad to start a game against Leicester City. Like, at least I know with Ziyech he can create and take shots. You know, what can Barkley do tomorrow? Like, no, he's not in the squad for me.
But I what I'm asking you is why wouldn't you start Pulisic over Ziyech?
Because he'll get injured probably. So, yeah, and I don't want to start him. Yeah.
Yeah, again, you think that he's just going to step on the pitch and get injured. If that's the case, then why even have him in a team?
Well, to be honest, if you're going down that discussion, I mean, I've said several times that it's definitely a discussion that we should sell him, but we're not going to go down that route just yet. I mean,
what I'm saying is if he's fit to play, you put him out there and play. And the idea that he always gets injured when he plays is, if you actually go through it, that's not true.
How many minutes did he have for America coming on? It wasn't that much. I don't think you should just start him straight away. It's not.
I think it was like a total of 40.
It's not the logical thing to do, in my opinion. You don't start him straight away.
I kind of agree with that, in all honesty, because I also think are the games, and no offense, but are the games that the USA plays against Mexico and Jamaica, are they even anywhere like that? That's like when we send a player to the under 20 or under 23s to the development squad to like get a game for fitness. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not comparable.
Yeah, but is that better game time than not playing at all?
No,
because
it's better. But I'm not saying I'm saying does it make him ready to start? Is what I'm saying.
Sure, because he's got more game time in the last 2 weeks than the people we've just mentioned. One of them the last 4 weeks.
That is not wrong. That of course that's not wrong.
So, and again, I don't buy this. He's going to get injured every time he plays. I mean, Jamaica.
I don't think it that way either. Let me just say, because the last time we heard Tuchel speak before today, he said that Pulisic, even when he is now involved again, he still has pain in his ankle. So by that logic, the fact
that was 2 weeks ago, though.
Should he start? Should he start one? That's why I'm not sure. Shouldn't we wait until he's not in pain for him to start games?
Well, that was 2 weeks ago.
And you think he's not in pain anymore now?
Well, I
Because
don't know. I
if he
can't tell you
isn't-
that. That was
Why?
2 weeks
Because
ago is what I could tell you.
No, but my logic is then he would have started against Jamaica.
No, I don't think he was. I don't think that Greg Berhalter was going to play him. Once we beat Mexico, if we had lost to Mexico, he would have started against Jamaica. But because we had a free pass, because we needed to win one of those two games, when we got the win against Mexico, there was no need to risk him starting. Especially since they've sent how many players back injured from that squad? You know, Reyna, I don't think has been on the field since, or very rarely. He got injured with the United States. It's just you don't want to continue to send injured players back because then teams don't want to work with you anymore.
I mean, while I get what you're saying with that, I feel like the way international teams usually tend to work, even if you didn't need to beat Jamaica, you didn't want to not beat Jamaica because it's a bit embarrassing. Let's not kid ourselves. So the fact that you didn't, if Pulisic was fit to start, I don't feel like the US would actually not start their poster boy just because to make Chelsea happy. I just feel like the US, again, no offense, you think you're too big to ever care about anybody else. In all honesty, like that's
no, not that. I'm just saying that I think Tuchel coming out before he left and saying, "I hope that they're sensible with him," made a difference on the minutes that he was given.
Maybe. I'm not even telling you that you're wrong. I'm not, because I just fully don't know. So we're just going to leave it as a Mount/Pulisic, because if Pulisic is actually fit to start and Jester's right, I actually agree, play Pulisic. But I don't have this information. And as same as I don't have this information, Mount, I wasn't there in training. If he looks fresh and sharp as ever, then why not play him? But if he looks like he's lacking a bit of energy, then don't start him, obviously. I guess it's just but obviously because we do the slash, I agree with both Clutch and Jester. If Pulisic starts, it needs to be in the left. So obviously then it would be the other way around. But we're just going to leave it like that. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But at the end of the day, we obviously sit here, debating about a team when we just don't have the full information on the exact fitness situations of them all. So in the end, none of us know. And in the end, none of us will make the decision anyway, I guess. But whether it's Mount or Pulisic, I would be very confident that we get the 3 points if this team starts, in all honesty. I know it's so sad, and I know why people think I have an agenda against Kante. But I genuinely feel if Kante plays instead of Ruben, I will feel ahead of the game there's a smaller chance we win the game. I honestly feel that way. Because I feel like we're less likely to score.
Yeah, I got just a question for Pies. Is the report that came out today about Christian not being happy because he got told he's not going to start this game? Can you put those two together?
Dan McCarthy already said that wasn't true.
I mean, I won't speak on him, but the other source, the other source that came out and said the story about him not being happy at Chelsea, I mean, is not generally the most reliable source, and it's from the Times or the Daily Star. So, yeah. I haven't tweeted it out. I don't know too much about him, but I will say Simon Phillips does tweet out generally good sources, apart from the odd occasion. But I've not really looked into it too much, and to be honest, logically, how can you be unhappy at Chelsea when you're never fit anyway? So, it's kind of it's not like you're 100% fit and Tuchel's just not picking you. It's like
no, I just thought that maybe he got told today he wasn't going to start, and so that's where that rumor came from. Just trying to.
To be honest, I think
that would be very, very childish on his part if that was true. To be honest, very childish.
Yeah, but I'm guessing if he was upset and a reporter goes, "Oh, Christian was upset." You know how they do that. Most of the stories that I've seen lately have been fake and bullshit anyway.
I mean, the headline was unhappy at Chelsea. I mean, in a general sense, do you really think he's unhappy at Chelsea? No. Like, he's
making mad money.
Exactly. Like, he's not going to be unhappy unless he's constantly fit, but he's just not getting selected. Like what happened to Hudson-Odoi a lot of the time. So that's unhappy. Because Pulisic in the past has said he wants to play more games. Yeah, but he knows himself he gets injured a lot, so you can't just come back and expect to start straight away. That's not how football works. There's nothing in that story, I don't think, anyway. It's not a great source.
No.
Okay,
obviously part of it could be that whatever this, like, the source clickbaiting a little bit, like, call it not happy at Chelsea when that's not essentially what he means, but call it out because it gains more clicks. You can say what you want to say just in just a second. Let me actually ask you, Klaus. Do you reckon there could be something in that, or do you think it's just one that happens to fit the bill but has nothing to do with each other?
I mean, it's around this time every year we hear that exact same story. Christian's not happy at Chelsea. He wants to leave in January. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, last year is the same thing. And then he has to come out and say, hey, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. I want to fight for my spot. And I agree with Pius. I mean, if it is true that he's not happy because he's not getting game time, then I'm going to start questioning his mentality. But to this point, I've never questioned Christian's mentality. So at this point, I think he knows he's got to be staying fit. That's his first priority before he even thinks about starting. Once you're fit and you start to get firing, hey, by all means, if you're not getting game time, you can be upset all you want. The only time I blame Tuchel for not playing Christian was after the first Real Madrid game when he got benched for the second leg. That's the only time I've ever thought that maybe it was a little unfair to him. But after that, no, he's not been 100% to a standard that we know he can be, which is that Project Restart Christian Pulisic. We have not seen that since that time. We've seen it in spurts and parts here, but it's either he's had this injury problem here, he's had something here. At this point, there's nothing in it. Like, I think it's just somebody trying to get a click for the same time every year that Christian's just not happy at Chelsea. I mean, like Pi said, what's to not be happy about?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do agree. Jester, was there something you wanted to add on that? Otherwise, we're going to
topic. No, not really. I just my thing with media reports nowadays, I don't know if it's much truth in anything. No, you have to really drill down and see what's going on, because there's people that have sources in the club, or they're just a mouthpiece for the club, and so anything they want out, it goes out, whether it's true or not. And I just think at some point, just stop listening to any of it. and
yeah, I agree. Like that, like people forget this, and I love The Athletic as well. I am subscribed to them, but people forget that The Athletic was the people that, and Matt Law both said essentially that Antonio Rudiger was bullying our youth players, when every single one of them, including Billy Gilmore, when he was already at Norwich, said how great Antonio Rudiger is. Like, even the best sources get it wrong sometimes, but also the worst sources get it right sometimes.
I mean, to be fair, it was kind of sus when the players came out and said, everything's fine. That kind of appears like a PR cover-up.
No, I agree, but when Gilmore said it when he was already at Norwich this summer, then
but it might not have been him specifically. It could have been anyone. It could have been like one or two players that we don't know about.
No, but he would know about it, and he wouldn't say how great Rudiger is if that happened, surely.
Maybe, I don't know. Depends.
Because you'd expect Billy to obviously be mates with the other youth players because he's one of them, I suppose. But let me actually move on to the last question, which I probably should have fit in earlier. But one of the reports that we've seen over the last couple of days, not sure again, like Jester mentioned there, who knows how reliable any reports are, but it's less about the reliability of the report. I just wanted to know your opinion on the matter. If we are to lose Antonio Rudiger, which it is said to look more and more likely, would Fofana from Leicester City be a replacement you'd be interested in, or would that be a no from you? Jess, I can see you shaking your heads. Why is that?
I think he's a good young talent, but you need to bring somebody in that's been in some bigger games and done it at a bigger stage. For me, a Militao, a Koundé, or even a Pau Torres, I would take over Fofana. Not to say he's a bad player, but got to have done a little bit more. And he's only 20 years old. He'll be 21 next year. If you're going to do that, why not just bring Collywell back?
I see. I see that. I definitely see that. The only one I disagree with you slightly is Eder Militao. Not because I don't think he can be good, but I think with how Real Madrid have been as a defensive team ever since Militao has been in that team, does not tell me he gets anywhere near our team when Tuchel has a look at him.
Well, for
Because
me, he
they
was
have
better than
awful
Varane
defensive team.
last
He
year.
bails them out every week.
He was better than Varane last year, I thought.
Oh, he was, but still he played in a bad defensive team.
Right. Well, yeah, I think that Thiago would help that situation out a lot.
That is true. I'm sure he would. But I just feel like Real Madrid don't have any centre-backs as it is, unless they sign Rudiger, I suppose. Like, getting Militao out of their squad, how old is he? 23-ish? Maybe 22?
Yeah.
He's young as well. Like, would not be cheap for sure, and probably arguably on higher wages than we're refusing to offer Rudiger. But fair shout on Fofana, fair shout. Let me ask you, Pies, what do you reckon? Would Fofana be a potential or a replacement you'd like, or rather not?
I mean, I'd like him at Chelsea. I think he's a very good young player. But as Jester said, there's a lot of young good centre-backs. There's a lot of good centre-backs in general. I think you'll find it hard to find a really experienced one that can come in. That's why we're seeing so many links to like a De Ligt, to a Kunde, to a Fofana, to, others. Even the Hungarian geezer was another young one. So it looks like we're trying to build for the future rather than bring someone experienced already in. Staying another year, I'm not sure, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Fofana's a very good player, very good talent. The thing that worries me, one, he's just come back from a leg break. Two, is going to be similar applies to Maguire. So, what's the point when you can get Kunde for 50 million? And you know what I mean? Kunde's played.
That's the big thing.
And also, Kunde, can I just say this? He plays in a back four at Sevilla. Four. Like, people, listen, please. No one believes me. He plays in a back four at Sevilla, and he's very, very good in the air. So he's not this midget that can't play in the Premier League. Like, I hate when these myths come out.
But the problem is,
so
if we need to replace Rudiger, Pies, we need to replace a left-side centre-back, and that's not necessarily true, because I think one of them, as we said before, will move over to the left centre-back, like Christensen or Chalobah. They've both played there, so all the links have not been with left centre-backs. So we're not going to play left centre-back. But don't you think Tuchel would like to sign someone that's perfect for left centre back rather than signing someone and then moving someone we already have into a position where there's
there's no one out there though, so we're not.
Torres would be the only one.
We're not linked with left centre backs. So
I guess that if you got Pau Torres, he would be the left centre back. He's
he's too much of
I like Pau Torres.
He's a wuss.
He is a wuss. That is true. He's not Rudiger. He's not Rudiger. But you like
the other one is,
and I think Pau Torres and Laporte are basically identical in every sense of the word.
Yeah, that's true. I was about to say Laporte. If we're looking for left footers, there's just not a lot of left footed big men out there, and that's why That's why we bought Saul. Really, is because everybody could use a left footed center back, so he's easy to loan out. And who knows, if he turns into something, then you have a left-footed center back with ball skills.
We tried to loan him out, and that didn't work this summer.
Yeah, well, his wages are a big deal, and that most teams that want to take loanees in don't want 120K on their books.
That's the problem when you sign young players that have decent ability but aren't superstars, and you sign them on a free, because on a free everyone gets high wages, and then you can't loan them anywhere, which is half the problem. But we could have just agreed to pay most of his wages. Like, we could have made that not be a problem. Whenever we loan anyone to Vitesse, we paid 90% of their wages, by the way. So we could have made it happen if we really wanted to. But Clutch, to finish it off with you, would Fofana, what is his first name? Wesley? Is Wesley the first name? Am I making it up? There you go.
No, that's it.
Would he be a replacement option for you for Rudiger, or would you rather look at elsewhere, I guess?
Hasn't he been injured a lot? Didn't he get injured like a couple times last season?
I couldn't tell you, mate. I know he broke his leg now, but that's just unfortunate.
I'm pretty sure he got injured a couple times last season. I think it's more likely that Chelsea probably go for a Kunde or a De Ligt, because that's who we. Those are the names that keep persisting and coming up. So if Chelsea are gonna go for a center back, I think it's gonna be one of those two. If they can't get one of those two, they might fall back on a Fofana or maybe even a Pau Torres. But as far as I wouldn't mind him. He's played pretty well for Leicester when he has played. So I mean, I would back him if he came, but I would still prefer, like, if anything, just pay Rudiger. Like, it's looking unlikely like that's going to happen. But if this is the questions we're going to be asking, and I know Jester was talking about, like, more experience, the center back that we're linked with that has experience is Saul from Bayern, and I'm not doing that. I'm just
that much experience either. I will tell you.
I mean, if you think about it, like Hyundai,
He's played big time
De Ligt,
games.
De Ligt, Pau Torres, they're all around that same age of 23, 24. So
I will say this, right, on Fofana. The fact that Tuchel, in his press conference today, basically said the reason why Leicester are struggling is Fofana being injured is a big call from Tuchel to say that, and does tell me that he likes him a lot. Because otherwise, why would he say that?
Yeah,
I
but
fully agree.
you know, if the person that's replacing you in Sianchu is just dropping, stinkers game after game.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what Tuchel said. I don't even know if it's true. I haven't watched Leicester enough to know, but Tuchel said that at least.
Fofana was actually very, very good for them. But again, you're 20 years old, leg break, come off that. I've always been told by people who've been in the business is you don't buy a player the year after a big injury. You wait till the next year after that because you don't know how they're coming back, and you don't want to have them for that first year in case they don't come back or get a re-injury.
Yeah, it is true. I know. Well, it depends on when he comes back and how many games he has. Obviously, I'm not talking January. I'm talking summer, right? So by the time we get summer, we would have already known how he comes back, I guess. And JC25 was going to make that identical joke. You ruined it now. Cheers, mate. Texas Blues say Phil Jones experience and fresh. You misspelled trash, but I get the joke. Brilliant. Let's move on and let's finish it off with the score prediction. I'll go with you first, Jester, because the question is: are you going to stick to your 3-1 score prediction from the start, or have you changed your mind?
No, because I think Christian Pulisic is going to start 3-1.
There you go. How many of those goals is Pulisic going to score then?
He will be involved in all 3 of them.
That's a big call. Should put money on that because if that comes true, you're a rich man.
Hey, I gotta run with the propaganda. I've got him back here. What am I gonna say? No, he's gonna sit on the bench. That's why I have him on my green screen.
No, I back it. And, same reason. I'm going to back it. If Ruben plays, we're going to win 3-1. If Kante plays, I'm joking.
There you go. There you go.
Let me go with you, Clutch. Let me go with you next. What's your score prediction? How you feeling ahead of tomorrow?
I think I'm going to go for 2-1. Coming back from an international break, I think it's going to be a little tough, but I do think we'll end up getting over the line. It's going to be hard to say who scores because, that front 3 is going to be a mix and match of who knows what. If Barkley shows up, has a great game, we might get a couple goals. If he doesn't, if we play Barkley and then we get the normal Barkley, then we're not going to score any goals. Just depends.
Yeah. I will say just quickly, because we're playing Leicester, other than Ashley Barnes and Jamie Vardy, how many of Leicester's regular players don't also go on international duty? So I'm not 100% sure how much of a negative compared to them that will be. Like, yeah, if we play Burnley or Watford, it's a difference because some of their players are home. But for Leicester, other than Vardy and Barnes, is there anybody?
Well, Tielemans would have played for Belgium, but he wasn't even fit.
Yeah, and now he's injured anyway, so that doesn't matter. But indeed, he is on international duty. Castagna is on international duty. I don't know who plays left back for them these days, to be honest. Is he still that young kid, or is he injured still?
Well, it's depending on who the right back is going to be. Because do they have Semedo?
No. You mean Pereira?
They have Castagna, they have James Justin.
Yeah, but who's the right?
Pereira.
It's Pereira.
Yeah.
Okay, is it Pereira that plays the right back?
Yeah.
So if he's playing right back, then Castagna might be on the left.
Oh,
especially if they're playing him as
Castagna usually plays right back. Pereira switches to the left if they don't have another left back, as far as I'm aware.
They both can play both sides. They both play both sides. They're their best wing back, full backs until Justin gets back. Luke Thomas is the kid you're talking about, and I hope he plays. I tell you that right now because Reece will eat him up.
Hey, Reece eats anybody up anyway, so
right. But he'll do that, kid.
No. Yeah, it's true. But like I was just gonna say, yeah, how many more players that will start, will they have so many more that weren't on international duty than us? I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be more positive because we're playing early kickoff after international break. Pice, let me finish off with you then. What do you reckon? Score prediction wise, confident?
2-1 Chelsea or 1-1, I think. Actually, 2-0 Chelsea or 1-1. 2-0 or 1-1.
Fair dues. I'm well, with the last thing you said, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go 2-0. I do think we're going to keep a clean sheet because I have seen how many goals Leicester have scored so far this season. And if Tillerman's not there, who's going to score their screamer? But again, fingers crossed, touch wood. I hope don't want to jinx it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to round it out here. Again, I'm silly. Haven't reminded any of you to subscribe and smash the like button until now. So please do it now. Hit subscribe. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Every single new subscriber does count. And also hit that like button. You know, we've said it in the chat earlier, but might as well. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time, and it really helps me out. So why don't you go and do that? Ladies and gentlemen, I really do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. Big shout out to all four. Well, 4 includes myself. So all 3 of my guests today. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you a lot. And we will all see you tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And I'll see you next time.